We must recognize that pursuing social cohesion is fundamental about building a compact between the government and the governed. As Hosi Dr. Mwaminetwa has already laid the groundwork, we must collaborate to create a more equitable and united South Africa towards another 30 years of democracy. Let us all recommit to the National Development Plan and goal of ending poverty and reducing inequality by 2030. Let us all recommit to the National Development Plan goal of ending poverty and reducing inequality by 2030.
Before I came here this morning, in fact, I was told to Homaruru ko Fitzberg. It's very cold, but I can see now it's hot. Tulo e futuma ditsekelong. Kia utlwa imufutu haholo. Ha ke dumedise batsamaisi ba mosebetsi, Minister Gayton McKenzie, le MEC wa Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Mentombizanele Beauty Sifuba. He said, Hompo, who our host, the Premier of the province, Mewa Ronor Moratang Hulu, Mequin Letsoha Matai. Kiabona me Premier Omunte Hulu Kajenu Kasitsu Saha. Lelo naka o fela lebantle Kasitsu Saluna. E chapele matsoho. Ke dumedise le di MEC kaofela tse di leng teng kajeno. I'm told all the MECs are here this morning. Honorable ministers, deputy ministers, who have already been introduced to all of us. Executive Mayor of Thabo Mofutshanyane District Municipality, Mekoni Msibi, Mayor of Setoto Local Municipality, Mokhanselara Sipati Mbiwe, le makhanselara kaofela a leng teng kajeno lena. Ke a le dumedisa le lona kaofela makhanselara a rona a leng teng. Ke se tlhompho go Morena Mopedi, the chairperson of the House of Traditional Coil Leaders of the Free State, le marena kaofela a leng teng hara rona kajeno, re sa tlhompho go lona kaofela. Ke se tlhompho baruti, all faith-based organizations, but also leaders of civil society who are here this morning. Ke dumedise ba tswang mmusong wa rona, senior government officials, ke dumedise ba di kuranta le di television, our media, and also the people who are assisting us today with sign language. Dumelang kaofela. Molweni. Sanibonani. Absheni. Ndimacheroni. Goeiedag. I'm right, Andries, ne? It's goeiedag. Nie môre. O is goeiemôre. Goeiemôre. En goeiemiddag. Ke thabila holo ba le lona kajeno mo motseng wa Meqele. Am I correct? Meqele. Thabilo a ba le lona kajeno, and Tate Mackenzie o itse konna o tla kgona fitla Fitzburg mara ka re ba itse a wa phela hantle ka re no Fitzburg ke mo ke yang teng. Tate Mackenzie ki PD le modimo phala baloi. Re mo ka jeno re tlo ketika mokete wa rona wa Heritage Day. Re le bantle re le jena with our different traditions, setso sa rona se fapafapaneng, to celebrate this day, the Heritage Day of our country. Ke thabile haholo ka re le nna nkile ka ba minister wa arts and culture. Ntate Mackenzie o ithuta mo nna mo. Ke antse ke mmontsha hore ye mo ne baizane. O e tshware hantle taba ena. Program directors, it is a great honor and privilege to address this gathering at this significant occasion, which is the celebration of our Heritage Day. Unfortunately, as we were looking forward to this day, some parts of our country, which include KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, and the Free State, were impacted by severe weather conditions exacerbated by climate change. Ke a tshepa re bone bongata ba rona ntho e etsaetseng mane bo Harry Smith le ditulong tse ding le ona mo Freestata because of the problem of snow. In celebrating our heritage, we must be alive to the impact of climate change on not only our well-being, but also on our culture. Extreme weather conditions such as those witnessed over the past few days affect some of our cultural and heritage sites as well, therefore undermining our national goals to protect and preserve our culture for generations to come. We empathize with those who were affected by the widespread extreme weather. We would also like to commend our ministers, Minister of COGTA, ministers of police, and other ministers and their government departments for the prompt response, ensuring a robust multi-sectoral response. The minister tsa rona di itse ha di utlwa gore go na le batho ba leng mathateng tulong tsa bo Harrismith because of snow. Ba etsa gore department di tswe kaofela di lo thusa di thuse le ba di province. Re leboge le wena Premier and the MECs and those of KwaZulu-Natal who ensured that our people get help immediately. Program directors, the response teams led by Net Joins remain on standby. We are on standby for any eventuality to continue to assist those affected communities. Even while these teams are committed to helping and saving those in need, we nonetheless ask that our people exercise caution and pay close attention to any warnings issued by the South African Weather Services. So re a kopa ge ba South African Weather Services ba re ska tswa matlong a rona, we shouldn't drive, re ba mamele, because we are in this conditions that climate change, and we are now experiencing the kind of weathers that we've never experienced before. Re a kopa ge gore re ba mamele ha ba re ska tswa re kene dikoloing re ye distrateng re drive. Program directors, the meteorological conditions emphasize even more how important it is to increase our investments in technology that may improve weather predictions. We can save lives by providing early warnings of storms, heat waves, and disasters. Our sincere condolences to the families of those who have lost their loved ones in this situation. In addition, I would like to urge the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to explore policy consideration concerning the impact of climate change on our historical heritage, but also provide direction on how best we can preserve our national identity in this era of multiple global challenges. So the Minister, Kakulu Minister wa rona wa Arts and Culture, o tla sheba re ka sireletsa jwang ntho tse lo di a re thusa haholo, ntho tse lo ke heritage ya rona, ke setso sa rona. Program directors, as we celebrate Heritage Month, which coincides with Tourism Month, we should use this opportunity to showcase to the nation the significance of our heritage sites across the country, also as tourist destinations of choice that have the potential to contribute to socio-economic development, promote people-to-people relations, and enhance social cohesion. The heritage sites tsa rona go na le batho ba batla o di bona ba tswang mafatsheng a mang, ntho e re bitsang gore ke tourism. Mme ha ntse ba tla mo ba batla o bona ditulo tsa rona re a khona re etse re go be le mesebetsi, so that our people must get jobs, haholo batjha ba le ke bona bongata ba batho ba sa sebetseng. These heritage sites should be seen as well as contributors to job creation. On this day, we should also celebrate our cultural diversity, our inherited sense of family identity, our traditions, cultural wealth, and artifacts passed down through the generations, particularly since the dawn of democracy. Ke thaba haholo ha ke bona re kgona ho keteka kaofela setso sa rona se fapaneng re le mmogo re sa supe ra wena o Motswana o Mosotho Mochangane Movenda re kgona re kopane kaofela re keteke mmogo a ke re ke ntho e botlhokwa haholo eo, because our diversity is also a source of our unity. Ke yona ntho e re kopanyang re le setšhaba sa Afrika Borwa. As we have gathered here today, we should reflect on 30 years of democracy, which in itself is a milestone that underlines our diversity and heritage. It is also critical that we recognize and remember courageous individuals such as J.B. Marx and Moses Kotane and many others who gave their lives or gave their all for the great gift of our freedom. As a result, we celebrate this Heritage Month in accordance with the Constitution preamble, which instruct us as follows: that we recognize the injustices of our past and honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land, heal the divisions of the past, and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. This is what we say in our Constitution. Minister Mackenzie will abonsa earlier on her today's celebration is going to celebrate particularly the heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for our freedom. So the theme of this celebration is celebrating the lives of our heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for freedom. Ba ileng ba lwela tokologo, ba ya nageng tse ding tsa ka ntle ba lwela tokologo, mme ba bang ba ile ba bolawa ba se kgone le ho boa gae, ba bang ba bolokwa mafatsheng a di-family tsa bona di sa tsebeng. So ka jeno re keteka heritage ye, re tlhompha batho ba ba ileng ba lwela tokologo. It is fitting because it allows us to honor the lives of those who confronted adversity with unflinching bravery and stood up against injustice and oppression, and finally gave their lives so that you and I could enjoy the fruits of democracy, which include equality, dignity, and freedom for all. The commemoration of our heritage is a result of the sacrifices and efforts of those who came before us, fighting against apartheid and championing social justice and human rights. It is therefore important that we as a nation preserve the memory of those who fought for freedom. They have dedicated and sacrificed their lives to the defense of our country, as well as the assertion of the values and principles that must be to have fallen outside of our country's borders. A homecoming ceremony will be taking place starting tomorrow, but on the 27th of September, we will have a big event in which President Ramaphosa will officially receive the repatriated remains from Zambia and Zimbabwe. Re amogela ba ileng ba tlhokofala Zambia le Zimbabwe. Ha re felle moo, re tlo ba amogela kaofela le mafatsheng a mang. So mosebetsi o wa qala, re a qala ka ba Zimbabwe le Zambia, our freedom fighters who died and were buried in those countries. Among the remains to be repatriated to South Africa are those of struggle stalwarts, Advocate Dumanokwe, Mama Florence Muposho, and Basil February. Ke rata ho nka sebaka se ke leboge Minister Mackenzie, Minister Motshekga, le Minister Noncho, ba ileng ba etsa mosebetsi o o phethagale. Thank you very much, ministers, for having made this possible. Ke bona di minister ba ileng ba re, President, re tlo etsa sure our heroes come back. And ka nnete mosebetsi ona o qadile. The repatriations of the remains from Zambia and Zimbabwe form part of the Resistance and Liberation Heritage Route Project. As a national memory project, this initiative aims to commemorate, celebrate, educate, promote, preserve and conserve, and provide a durable testament to South Africa's road to freedom. The exhumations and the spiritual repatriation and reburial project is just one of many important activities taking place during this month. In addition to the heroes and heroines of our national liberation struggle, we also acknowledge many other remarkable individuals across the spectrum who contributed to our freedom. So during Heritage Months, re gopola kaofela ba ileng ba lwela tikologo, ha re tlisa ba ileng ba wa Zimbabwe le Zambia, re gopola hape le ba ileng ba wa mo lefatsheng la rona, because some of our freedom fighters were also killed in this country. Some of them, their families, have never even been able to identify their graves. They just disappeared. So we need to celebrate all these heroes. Program directors, as our heroes come back for reburial at home, let me take this opportunity to thank most sincerely the peoples of Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola, Tanzania, Mozambique, Lesotho, Botswana, and many other countries that welcomed our brothers and sisters. They looked after them. They even looked after our fallen heroes. Siyabonga, riyaleboga. No words can be enough to thank you, the people of these countries. Fellow compatriots, 3 decades into democracy, we continue to celebrate our heritage, while we acknowledge that there are many challenges confronting our communities, which include the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. To tackle these ongoing challenges, we must unite. We must unite and celebrate our diversity while striving to create a more equal society where opportunities are not determined by a color of your skin, or gender, or class, or religion, but as a South African. Re kopaneng re age lefatshe lena, batho ba rona ba fumane mesebetsi, go ska ba le kgethollo. Re a utlwana? Go ska ba le kgethollo, wena o mosweu, wena o montsho, re ma South Africa kaofela. Ke lefatshe la rona le kaofela ha rona. Go ska ba le kgethollo go bomme gender. Hora lona ka le bomme dulelang kwa kokgole. Re ma Afrika Borwa kaofela. Go ska ba le kgethollo ya nna ke mosione, nna ke mo Methodist, re ma Afrika Borwa kaofela. Ha re kopaneng. Program directors, this would entail increasing also people's skills through access to equal education opportunities, quality health care for all, and provision of basic amenities, as well as facilitating work opportunities and shifting economic ownership patterns. Economy ya rona I own ke rona kaofela, not just a few amongst us. Furthermore, we must work together as government, interfaith, civil society formation, and traditional leaders to eliminate persisting inequalities, particularly gender-based violence and femicide. Re kopane le marena, magoshi a rona, communities, kaofela rona re kopane. We must fight gender-based violence together, because gender-based violence undermines the efforts of government and also of non-governmental organizations to bring about or foster social cohesion and moral regeneration. Premier Rebata Ruleboge Luena, you told me this morning that Ofile Marena dikoloi tse 10 vehicles. This is an acknowledgement that our traditional leaders, Khoisan leaders, they do a lot of good work in our communities. Therefore, they need to be assisted every time we are able to do so. I know you are not the first. I know in the Northwest they've done the same. In Mpumalanga they've done the same. In the Eastern Cape they've done the same. And other provinces are following. Reale buka premier hore magoshi a rona a fumane dikoloi tsena ba tla di sebedisa go sebeletsa setjhaba. Fellow compatriots, we must not let anybody conceal evil acts of abuse under the guise of one's belief system and culture. It has to be said that no nation can condone any form of abuse against women, children, and those who are most vulnerable in our society, including the LGBTQIA+ community. To demonstrate our commitment to the fight against gender-based violence, the government has introduced new laws protecting women and children in our country. Kadi 24 May this year, President Ramaphosa o sainile molao o montšha, the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide bill into law. We last signed, so this bill is now a law in our country to protect our women and children. This new legislation is significant, is rather a significant step towards protecting women and children from abuse, from violence, by way of establishing a council to provide strategic leadership in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. We must further confront the issues related to heritage resources in public spaces, which continue to pose a challenge in defining our collective cultural identity and building a nation united in diversity. In our country, the impact of apartheid remains visible in some of the areas, and the wounds of the past divisions and inequalities remains unresolved in some of our areas. Therefore, we need to continue to build on that which unites us and deal with with issues that seek to divide us as a nation. It is through understanding and celebrating our shared heritage that we can begin to bridge the gaps that divide us and move forward as a united and inclusive society. Re kopane kaofela re tshwarane ka diatla. Di teng ntho tse ngata tse di re kopanyang. Re di sebedise gore re kopane re age setjhaba sa South Africa. The reality of our political climate under the government of national unity also give us an opportunity to collectively reimagine what the heritage of good governance in South Africa can look like. Our ability to look beyond our differences and converge the shared agenda to bring about inclusive growth, job creation, and poverty reduction is one of the examples that the government is showing its commitment to uniting through diversity. Rekopane really GNU, as Minister Mackenzie was saying, rare hare kopaneng because re khethile ke setjhaba. Hara dula ko khoneng rare re etsa GNU. Batho ba voutile ba re kopanya. Ba re sebetsang mmogo re le voted. So we came together and we agreed that we must prioritize inclusive growth. Re age ikonomi ya rona. Prioritize poverty reduction. Or batho ba ngata ba hlophega, we tshwantse re fedise tlhophego ye. This poverty. Mme re etse gore batho ba fumane mesebetsi, batho ba fumane dijo, batho ba fumane matlo, re lokise ditsela, batho ba rona ba fumane bophelo bo botle. That's the commitment of the GNU. Ha rena nako ya gore re ntse re lwana, re lwanela ditulo. President o re file kaofela ditulo, wena tshwara se, wena tshwara se, wena tshwara. Kaofela re reporta ko president. Ha ke ra utlwana. Ha re reporti di plekeng tse ding. So the GNU ministers are all accountable to the president, and we have a minimum program that guides our work. That program prioritizes inclusive growth of our economy, job creation, and also reducing poverty. Right? Lea soko la kere. The price tsa dilo di le udim. So the GNU must deal with these challenges because batho ba sokol. Baskanna ba khwarela kere. So a re khwarele bjano mo GNU re a sebetsa. Re batla gore lefatshe le loke. Fellow compatriots, as different sectors of society, we must collaborate with the South African Heritage Resources Agency to develop community abilities and capabilities to help identify and protect our heritage resources. We have to guard and protect our heritage from all forms of neglect and threats such as natural disasters, urbanization, globalization, and development that pose challenges to the preservation of our most treasured landmarks, artifacts, and traditions. All communities from the Free State province, including Lona Mo Fitzberg, have the responsibility also to protect and preserve historical sites. Lenaldi historical sites like old prison cells, the General Fig Museum, let's say Lidi batle kaofela lona, you must identify them. Lebuele Minister Mackenzie, we've got these heritage sites, help us preserve them for future generations. So that banaba rona ba itse re tswa kae. Le dintwa tse leng ra dilwana ba di itse ba bone ka di heritage tse gore re ile ra lwana dintwa mme jwale re aga. We are building South Africa. We must recognize the value of heritage conservation, not just for conserving the past, but also molding our future. Our heritage is more than simple or simply a collection of artifacts from the past. It shapes who we are as a people and where we are heading towards as a nation or the country. We have to protect both our tangible and intangible heritage. As a people, we are connected yet distinct in our living heritage, which includes oral history, belief systems, cultural practices, rituals, popular memory, skills, methods, and indigenous knowledge systems, which inform our view of nature and society and relationships. These attributes are the foundation of all communities and are an essential source of our nation's identity. If we preserve intangible cultural heritage, we will be able to keep our integrity, our values, and respect for one another as a nation. We call on all our stakeholders, families, NGOs, traditional leaders, interfaith leaders, educational institutions, businesses, as well as the media, to play a role in the promotion and protection of our intangible cultural heritage. Languages are among the most important aspects of our intangible heritage that we should protect. Protect the language tsa rona, dipuo tsa rona. Le ska tshaba bua dipuo tsa lona. Ha le kopane le ba bang le bue dipuo tsa lona so that we can promote our languages. We should also learn each other's languages. Learning each other's dialects will make it easy to understand and celebrate each other's culture with mutual respect. Ba bona how bua dipuo tsa batho ba bang wa khona o ithute tsona loe. So we can all learn each other's languages. When I arrived here this morning and I greeted Andres Sakrekelohoa, I said, Huye more, Uhandet met E. Akrelabon, we learn all the languages. Siateta Nestos, Minister Meth, Ndiavuyo Gutubela, Reabua, Abulabul, Rekoamba. We talk all the languages. Please learn all the languages of our country. We urge intellectuals, knowledge holders, language practitioners, and all organizations like the Pan-South African Language Board to share their wisdom and continue to implement programs that will help to prevent linguistic knowledge extinction, especially in our younger generation. Harbatlor khubele leleme le shwang or language that disappears. We know that with the Khoisan, we nearly had that problem where they were neglected, but now they are with us so that we can also preserve their language and promote it. As South Africa continues to develop, it is crucial to preserve our heritage for generations to come. We must cherish, protect, and celebrate the monuments, the sites, traditions that define our unique identities, ensuring that they are passed from generation to generation. Most importantly, while we celebrate our rich and past unique culture, we must remember the sacrifices made by those who fought for our independence. May we never forget the price paid by our freedom fighters and many of those who, together with our freedom fighters, continue to fight for our country and sacrifice their lives. Ha ke qeta ke batla re ba gopole bao ba lwetse tokologo ka mantswe a Ntate Nelson Mandela, our first democratic president, when he said, when our first democratically elected government decided to make Heritage Day one of the national days, we did so because we knew that our rich and varied cultural heritage has a profound power to help build our new nation, close quote. Ke mantswe a Ntate Mandela re ba gopola ka ona, that heritage has the profound power to help build our new nation. In conclusion, Program Director, let us work together to preserve our legacy, protect our proud history, and shape our country to become a better country so that our people can have and enjoy a better future.